everybody, and welcome to Clay Talk. We're going to wait for a few more people to join us and then we'll start. Hello everybody, and welcome to Clay Talk. Alright, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little Santa ornament. But while we wait for more people to join us, I'm just going to go through some other Christmas ornaments that I've made with Creative Paperclay over the years. Some of them are like really fancy sculptures, others are quite simple, so there's something here for everybody. I'm going to start just discussing a few of these with you, and then in a few minutes we'll get started on the actual sculpture. So these ones here are just simple cookie cutter ornaments. As you can see, I've used like rubber stamps in them to get that. It says 2017, so I know I made that one then, and they're all decorated in different ways with glitter and stuff. This one is decorated with rubber stamps also. And here, these ones are cut out. I just made a stencil and cut these out and decorated them with texture paste and stencils. And I think it was Flitter Flakes, the bigger glitter. And this one here was has a rubber stamp in it here and here. Other stuff that I've made include this little gingerbread man here. This little gingerbread man I did quite a couple years ago. I think it's a design team post. A lot of these are actually on the blog creativepaperclay.blogspot.com, and you can definitely find them there with full tutorials, and some of them would have videos on my YouTube channel, Paper Mache Pat, so you'd find out how to make all of these little crafts that I am doing. This is a cute little Santa, also a design team post. I made this a few years ago also with a styrofoam ball and some aluminium foil. As you can see, there are many things you can make with the clay. This is a little church here that I made. Once again, made with Creative Paperclay, and I carved the styrofoam and added clay and glitter and fake snow and stuff to decorate it. One of my favorites, which I just posted this on the page actually, is this snowman right here. This snowman was made with styrofoam balls and covered with Creative Paperclay. The hat I made out of felt and just stiffened it with some of that fabric stiffener. I think it's Eileen's or something like that. And made the scarf with felt. These are also styrofoam balls, and everything is just covered with glitter and the plastic snow that you buy. Here, which I have on the blog and on my YouTube channel, is a cute little angel. This was also made with Creative Paperclay. The armature would be a bottle. So as you can see, there are quite a few things that you can make with clay. So let's see how many people are here now. I think we should be able to get started with our little sculpture. The paints that we're going to use, I should say that they're from Plaid Crafts. Plaid always supplies us design team members with paints. It's quite nice of them. Their paints are actually perfect for working with Creative Paperclay. So I'm gonna start showing you now how to make this sculpture. Let me just switch over my camera so we can look down. Okay, there we go. That's better. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is to make the armature. I have a video about armatures, and I did already for Clay Talk, and basically the armature is the skeleton of the sculpture. It's what holds it inside together, like, you know, holds it firm. So this case, I want it to stand up, so I've added something inside. Otherwise, when I add this right here, it would topple over. So what I've done is I use cat litter, being I have that around. You could use pebbles, sand, anything like that, just to weight it down a bit. So I'm going to show you how I made this, and then we're just going to cover it with clay and make the sculpture. So let me get started with that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get my aluminum foil. And here I have my cat litter. So to get started, I'm just going to put a little, not a lot because it's a tiny sculpture, in the middle there. And just start bringing it up into this shape, because we're trying to make this shape. So we're just going to start bringing it up like that into that shape. This is just the first layer. We're going to add more foil, so don't worry about the misshapen bottom piece right here. And then we just add another piece of foil. You can make these as big or as small as you want. It's entirely up to you. And every one you make is going to be slightly different. You can do the little hats going a different way. You can do, you know, different variations, different colors, different facial features, and so on. Alright, so that's pretty much how you make the armature. So now that we have that done, we're going to move that out the way. Let me just get out my clay. As you know, air dry clay, it's good to store it in an airtight container with a damp paper towel. That keeps it moist when you're not using it. I'm just going to move that out the way, grab my armature, and then I'm just going to take just little bits of this and start pressing it on. You definitely have to press it on while you're sculpting. You want to make sure that it forms a good seal with the foil. You shouldn't need glue with foil. You can add diluted glue to make sure, but if you press it in really well, you won't have to worry about any air pockets being left in there, and it will just less cracks, less everything. So we just press it on and we smooth as we go along. As you can see, it smooths as you sculpt. It's very easy to work with. I'm just going to cover this bottom bit, then I'll fix that top bit. know it just looks like a random cone right now, but we'll add the features and you'll see it come together shortly. But it's good to get this part done first and have everything nice and smooth, and then we'll go ahead and add the rim of the hat and the nose. To make sure the base is flat, simply just stomp it down like that. And then we'll just continue to add at the top. We're going to wait for a few more people to join us and then we'll start. Stomp it down like that. And then we'll just continue to add at the top. We're going to wait for a few more people to join us and then we'll start. There we go. Now you can, at this point, you can decide, okay, I want to push that over a little bit more. You can say how long you want your little hat at the top here. That got a bit too long for me. And it's all fully covered. So the next step would be, let me just put away this clay for a minute so it doesn't dry out. Let's put that over there. It's just to smooth this off. You can sand it when it's dry, but the truth is if you do it now, you have less work later because it really is easy now. You just have to dip your finger in water and run it over just like that and just smooth it. You don't want to add go flooding it with water because too much water actually causes some cracks. Which, I mean, cracks can be fixed as well, but you know, you don't want to give yourself any more work. So we'll just continue to smooth this. You can also use a clay tool if you like to smooth. I find that my fingers are good enough for these tiny pieces. Sometimes a clay tool is handy, as you'll see in the next, when we add the next, in the next steps rather, when you have to get into really tight areas, it's good to have a clay tool at that point, or anything that can be used as a clay tool to get in to those points. A lot of the things you really can find in your house. You don't necessarily need to go and buy stuff. A lot of manicure and pedicure tools actually are great for sculpting with Creative Paperclay. Alright, so that's looking good. Let me just finish smoothing off right here. And the next step, we're going to add the rim of the hat, the nose, and the little pom-pom. So let me grab more clay. And I'm going to roll it out. And then we're going to add it to our sculpture. So you have to kind of determine where you want it. I think about right there is good. So let me grab my little craft knife here. Just cut off one end and cut off the other, so we can just join them nicely right there. So you can decide where exactly you want it. You can move it up or down if you have a long face Santa or short face Santa, and put it in place. Because it's the clay is wet, we don't need to add anything. It just sticks automatically to that. However, we are going to use a little sculpting tool and just go around underneath right here and make sure that everything is sealed properly. We'll do it on the top as well, and then we'll smooth that off. We don't want this falling off when it's dry, so this helps to make sure that everything is joined properly, and we'll do it up here also. This is where the little sculpting tool comes in. One of those little metal nail file. If you use the back end, it should be able to work for this also. And then we want to smooth it because this area is so tiny, and you know your fingers are big. I keep a paintbrush just for doing this. So you dip it in the water, and then you just go in and smooth where it was joined. A video of this will be available on this Facebook page, so don't think you have to get everything right now. You can always come back and rewatch it. I'll also be doing a blog post on the Creative Paperclay blog this Saturday. I'll have a full supply list, and I'll also include a link to the video. That way you can go out and get your supplies and make yourself some little Santas for Christmas. Okay, great. That's smooth enough. So the next step is, okay, decide, is this going to be his face or is that going to be his face? You know, which way is your hat going to go? I think I'm going to use this side right here. So the next stage is to get just a little ball of clay like this. Decide how big you want his nose or how small, because we're going to add it right there. So we're just going to roll out the ball of clay. And then we're going to add it right here. So same thing again. We just go around and carefully just join the nose. I'm going to press it down a bit, make sure it's on nicely. Now I want his hat to be drooping over it just a bit, so what I'm going to do is just push that gently down. I'll probably have to fix up the top again, but that's okay, because I like how that looks. So I'm just going to go back and fix up here. It's not a big deal really. And just smooth it off again. There we go, he's looking quite cute. Now we can add the little pom-pom. This little pom-pom right here. So to do that, we need another ball of clay. We just rest him right there. And we are just gonna roll that out. I'm gonna smooth it off a bit. And to get it to go on the end right here easily, we simply use our paintbrush and just kind of, you know, make a nice enough hole for it to slip into. And then we just push that on there. Once again, it's a good idea to join so we don't have it falling off. And then we can smooth with your finger or with a paintbrush. There we go. So before we set this aside to dry, what we are going to do next is to add some texture. If you can see on this one, we had the little pom-pom texture up here. You can also add that right here. I didn't do it on this one, but I'll show you how to do it on here. And also the texture of the beard. So one of the things you can use, or I should say some of the things you can use, are for the texture of the pom-pom. We'll start with that and then we'll come down to the beard. This is a wire brush. I think it's used for cleaning metal parts. A hard toothbrush is also another option. If you don't have either of that, this is just a piece of a skewer, which you can just, you know, go in there and do that. And then you get that nice texture, see? So whichever one, it's up to you. My favorite is this because it really gives it a nice texture. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. But I'll show you as well, actually. The toothbrush works fine. See, look. Everybody has that old hard toothbrush lying around somewhere. I don't think the soft ones would work, but the hard one definitely does work. And then also we can do the pom-pom on his hat. You have to be very gentle when you're doing that part because you don't want it to break off. If you want the holes deeper than that, then you can use your little skewer or toothpick. And as you can see, the holes become more pronounced. There we go. That's looking good. So let's move those out the way. So the next thing now is the texture of the beard, which I'm just going to do all around for the hair as well. Once again, you can use your little skewer or you can use your sculpting tool. Either way, it's fine. It just depends on what texture you want. And we're just going to go ahead and do that all the way around. Until we finish covering the area. I guess something like a plastic fork or even a metal fork, a regular fork, would be great for this as well. I have a whole host of kitchen tools in my art room. When I buy something new for the kitchen, the old one comes to the art room. Okay, there we go. He's all sculpted. Isn't he cute? He's ready to dry. Air dry clay can be dried in an oven, like at about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe about 20 minutes would dry this little guy. You can also just put it in front of a fan or just leave it. It will dry overnight. It's not very thick because we have the armature in the middle, and it's just a thin layer of clay, so it really won't take that long to dry. I have another one I've sculpted because of time, and I'm gonna show you how I painted him. So I'm just gonna set this out the way, and then we can get started on painting the other one. Once again, a great way to store your clay is in an airtight container. This is one of those Sterilite ones that has a seal, and I just put a damp paper towel in there. It works wonders. That clay has been in there a few weeks now and it's still fine. So I'm just going to move the sculpting stuff out the way, and then after that I will show you how to paint the sculpture. Of course, when the sculpture is dry, if you need to sand it, go right ahead. That's not a big deal. And I add a coat of gesso because gesso just helps prevent the paint from being absorbed by the clay, which is great. So I like that a lot. There's clear gesso, there's white gesso, or even just a diluted, like white acrylic could work as a gesso if you don't have it. You really don't have to go out and you know, watch it. So buy it if you don't have it at home. So alright, let's start painting. Okay, so this is the one I have that I've already dried and added a coat of gesso. And as I said before, we are going to use paints. Here we go. These are all by Plate Craft. We will need our paint brushes. And some water, of course, and paper towel or a cloth just to, you know, clean your paintbrush on, just to take the excess water out. So let's get all of that together. To finish it, we can also use Mod Podge and glitter. You'd have to be dry to put that on though, so I'm not sure if I'll get to that today or not, but you can go ahead and do that. So let's get started with maybe his little face. So I'm just going to pour some in the lid. This one is called Santa's Flesh. So I'm just going to go ahead and give the little nosy a coat of it. You might need more than one coat. So let's rinse that out. And the next one I'm going to use, I'm doing the base first so I can hold the base while I paint the hat and vice versa. So this is actually, it's called Vintage White. I also have just white. I use the two of them on the beard. I will start with the Vintage White and get down in the cracks, and then I'll just dry brush over it with the regular white. That just gives it some dimension. It brings out the texture a bit more. So we're just going to go ahead and now paint this with the Vintage White. It's Folk Art Vintage White multi-surface paint. It's by Plate Crafts. We're just going to go ahead and give that a coat. You might need a smaller brush to get into some of these areas. There we go. So the next part we can paint is the hat. And then we'll do the white last on the trim of the hat and the pom-pom. As you can see, these paints are thick and creamy. I'm going to go ahead and maybe just trim around here. Try not to get it too much on what will be the fur trim. As you can see, he's starting to come together nicely. I should probably grab a heat gun and just give him a quick dry before we go on any further. There we go. I'm just going to grab my heat gun. And just dry this so we can move a bit faster here. A heat gun is always handy to have around. If you don't have one, use your hair dryer. I mean, you don't really need it to be a heat gun unless you're doing embossing. You just need hot air really blowing on it to dry your work faster, to dry the paint or whatever medium you happen to put on your work. Okay, great. I think we need another coat of red hair, so I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. Don't forget that we're having a giveaway. We're going to pick it soon. So please say that you want to win. You have to type it in the comments. And you might just be the lucky winner this evening. If there's anything that you'd like us to do on Clay Talk or discuss, you can leave it in the comment section below or leave it on our page. Try that again. Okay, great. That's dry enough. I wouldn't say it's 100% dry, but I'm impatient, so let's go ahead and rinse this brush out properly and move on to the white. If we can get it dry enough, I'll show you the Mod Podge and the glitter. There's a great Mod Podge actually that you don't even have to add glitter. Let me show you right now. It's called Mod Podge Sparkle. It actually has the glitter in it. I don't know if you can see or not, if the light catches it, but it actually has a nice sparkly bit to it. It's great when you're doing little ornaments and stuff. And you could also do these ornaments and put a little hook in it right here, one of those little eye hooks that you use in a picture frame, and hang a ribbon, and you could have loads of them on your tree hanging. That would actually be quite cute. Alright, so let's move on to the white. Just gonna go ahead and pour a little in my lid. Okay, great. Make sure there's no pink left in there, any red. And we're going to go ahead and just go over this. Inevitably, even when you try not to get the other color on it, you always do, so, or at least I do. There we go. And same here. We're going to have to switch to a smaller brush to get those underneath parts. Areas where I got the red, I might have to go over a second time, but that's okay. You see how easy it is to make these little sculptures? And Creative Paperclay is perfect for this because it's just so lightweight. You can hang it on the tree and your branch won't be weighed down. You can stand it up. Even if it falls over, it doesn't break very easily. They're actually pretty sturdy once they're finished. So if you have a house full of kids or cats or busy little puppies, then it won't matter. I don't worry about my sculptures being broken at all. Alright, now we've that painted, I am just going to add a little paint at a time and just slightly go over this. I'm not really going down into the grooves, I'm more just doing it on top and scratching it kind of over it, just kind of scratching it, not too much paint, like rubbing it. because I do want the other paint to remain in the cracks and show through. Oh, we have a winner. It's Cheryl Martins. Great. And I think we are finished painting it. So we're almost done now. We can give it a quick dry and I'll show you how to add the glitter. There we go. So let me just close the paint so we don't get them full of glitter. Oops, I had some left in that one. It's a good idea to have a brush reserved for Mod Podge or matte mediums, gel mediums, that kind of thing. You don't want to ruin your good brushes. So let's give it another quick blast with the heat gun. Hopefully it's dry enough for the Mod Podge. Alright, I think that's dry enough. Let's add the Mod Podge and the glitter. And then we're done. So we're finishing up now. This is the Mod Podge Sparkle. It looks like it's cloudy, but just like regular Mod Podge, it will dry clear. Only with a bit of glitter in it. So you can either leave it like this. I like it like this actually because there's enough sparkle. But I probably will add some glitter down in this section right here. In the hat. So I'm being generous with my Mod Podge here. I might add glitter as well to that ball. I think I'm just going to dip the ball in the glitter. That way it gets nice and coated. Now before I do the rest of him, I'm going to go ahead and just add the glitter. At the base of the hat here. That's where I wanted it. And I also want my little ball. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip that straight in there so that gets well glittered. Great. And then we'll just go ahead and put Mod Podge down here as well. It's going to be kind of hard for me because the top is wet still, but let me just go ahead and finish up best I can. And that will be it. That's how you make your little Santa gnome. You could use this to make little gnomes that don't have to be Santa Claus. They can be any little things for your fairy gardens. Bear in mind though that Creative Paperclay is for indoor use, not outdoor use. So anything you make cannot get wet. And I think that is it. Our little gnome is finished. Yeah, the glitter just adds that kind of finishing sparkle I like on these little whimsical things. I don't add it on everything, but I find that when I do whimsical stuff, I love to add it. So there you go, your finished little Santa gnome. And here's his little brother over here. As you can see, they look entirely different. Each one that you make is going to be different. That's just how it is. And that's it. I'd like to thank you for joining us. And be sure to join us in January, first Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. As I said, if there's anything in particular you want to learn about, or you want to like me to make and show you, we'll happily try our best to do it. So just let us know in the comment section or on our page. Leave us a comment there. Our blog is www.creativepaperclay.blogspot.com. There are loads of tutorials there, loads of Christmas tutorials, so definitely stop by and check out some more crafts, and I am sure you'll have fun. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year when it comes, and I will see you in January.